Welcome to another episode of Shake It Up with Shaikh. We have been talking about our education system, and especially our elementary and high school education. Education is the fundamental block of our success. And if we fail in elementary and high school education, then our success could be in jeopardy. We have been also talking about AMSA, Advanced Math and Science Academy Charter School in Marlborough, Massachusetts. That school has shown a lot of progress, especially on STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and math education. And they have really shown a lot of growth as well as a lot of attraction from other towns like Shrewsbury. They have also going through some changes. They just hired their new executive director, Mr. John Brucato. John, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
So John is here in our studios to talk to us. So is Craig Holbrook. No, Craig, is it Holbrook or Holbrook?
Holbrook.
Holbrook, okay. So Craig is vice chair of AMSA, and he was really at the forefront of this recruiting process. They have gone through a very rigorous recruiting process. So we thought, let's talk to Craig and John today to figure out that how did they really find John, what process you guys use, and also, why did we hire John? So with that, I will, start with Craig. Craig is vice chair of AMSA, like I said, and also he's president of Centric Consulting. Am I correct?
That's correct.
All right.
Yeah.
And, Craig is really a man of many talents. He has a lot of experience dealing with people. So, Craig, help me understand that what process did you guys follow to recruit John, our new ED?
Yep. Thank you, Rashid. The first thing we did is we evaluated the timeline in terms of when our past executive director, Barbara McGann, had resigned or notified us that she would finish the school year, and realized that we really didn't have a whole lot of time to go through the right process to find the next leader for the next 3 to 5 years in John. And what we did initially was establish a pretty rigorous process that recognized that we had a short recruiting window and that we may need to either make an interim selection or a permanent selection, and we tried to keep those options open.
So when was that? When did Barbara turn in?
That was, I believe that was in April. And that gave us just a couple months until the end of the school. And as we all know, the educational recruiting calendar really kind of finishes in January and February of the year to recruit for the next the following year superintendents and principals. So we had about 3 months that we were working with, and the board convened a subcommittee of 4 members, which included Anton Teodorescu, Carla Talanian, and yourself, Rashid, and me as well, to begin the recruiting process by defining it first, which we really defined a pretty rigorous process to make sure we understood what the requirements of the job were. We listened to the faculty and the staff and the parents and the teachers to understand what are the most important characteristics that would define the next leader. And then we went out to begin the actual recruiting process, advertising in local newspapers and electronically to bring in a pool of candidates. And really all through this time we recognized that we might need to talk to recruiting agencies as well, which we in fact did to make sure we had them at the ready if we were going to have to go to an interim solution.
Okay, good. I think you went pretty quickly to kind of comprehend the whole process. So let me just kind of step back a little bit and understand. So I think you guys got to know Barbara is leaving about sometime in April?
Correct.
Okay. Yep. And then how long did it take you guys to kind of develop the process, and what stakeholders you guys highlighted in the process, and how did you guys talk to them?
I think it took us about 3 weeks to really begin the recruiting process. So to define the process, to understand the full job description and requirements, and bring in the community of AMSA into both the definition of the job and the recruiting process. So once we kicked off the recruiting process, we began to collect resumes, and I think we really considered seriously 15 candidates. And we narrowed that down sequentially up until we had the final candidate selection.
So there was some phone interviews, I guess?
We did a series of phone interviews with the candidates, which lasted 30 minutes apiece to just screen them into the process. And I think we got down to 4 candidates that we actually wanted to meet with in person. We thought they were all pretty fully qualified to do the job, and we wanted to do in-person interviews, which consisted of really 3 sets of board members, parents, and teachers in 3 different groups, focusing on leadership and administration, focusing on curriculum, which is, as we know, AMSA is founded on a pretty rigorous curriculum, and we know that that's the most important thing that we do as a community, and was focused on fundraising development efforts as well. So we rotated the 4 folks that we interviewed through those different committees for interviews over the course of several nights, and got to what the board ended up deciding was a very, very qualified candidate in John that would really help us to go from where we are today, which is a stable and strong school, to a school that has even stronger leadership and can really tackle the challenges of a growing school and a rigorous high school curriculum, which we've just graduated our first class, as you know.
So you said there were like 3 sets of teams, or 4 sets of teams, which kind of comprised of course, 3 board members, parents, and teachers.
Correct.
So how did we recruit? I understand some of the process, but I would like to understand from you that how did we recruit these teachers and parents, just for everybody's knowledge?
We went, for the teachers, we went out to our teacher representative on the board and asked him to go back to the faculty and find the folks that could afford the time and were qualified to understand, really had been at AMSA a few years and really understood what it took to be successful there. And then for the parent reps, we went to our parent rep on the Board of Trustees and asked them to recruit candidates, and they both did a really great job of finding people to insert into the process that had done some interviewing before, as well as knew really what AMSA was all about.
And honestly, I know I was part of that process, and I want to witness that I really enjoyed the process. It was thanks to you. You did a great job.
Thank you. No, I think
setting up the
it's a great team effort.
It was a great team effort, but I think you personally spent most of the time, and we owe you a big thank for setting up a very open and very rigorous process. There were long nights, but it was certainly worth it.
Yeah, well, I think several people on the board highlighted that as a board of trustees, we do only a few things. We make sure that the school is governed well, and we hire one person, and that is the executive director. So, it's probably the most important thing we do is do well by the process and end up with the right person. And we're pretty confident that John's the right person for the next few years of the school's life.
Okay. All right. So we hired John, and let's turn to John. So John Brucato has 30 years of administration as well as teaching experience in Massachusetts, and some out of Massachusetts as well on top of it, as well as I was honestly very impressed to see that there is about 15 years of teaching experience and about the same amount of administration experience, being both vice principal and principal in Milford High. Correct. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So John has lots and lots of stories and successes to share, and some of that I heard through the interview. So I think it would be good to really hear some of those, which we haven't touched base before. So John, first of all, welcome to AMSA. We are really excited to have you here.
Feeling is mutual. I'm very happy to have landed here.
Okay, great. So just take maybe 60, 90 seconds and give us your overall view of what is John Brucato made up of?
Well, I'd have to say that to begin with, I'm pretty straightforward.
Okay.
What you see is what you get. I believe that there are certain principles that should guide a leader, and I've always followed those principles. I think character and integrity, honesty, trustworthiness are very important things to model as a leader for both teachers and students. And I'm very interested in culture because I believe that if the culture reflects the qualities and characteristics that everybody aspires to in the school community, then that becomes the foundation for excellence. And I recognize that immediately in the time that I spent at AMSA and with the number of people I spoke to.
Okay. So you have spent about 30 years in almost same institution, teaching, directing, leading. Help us understand that what are the basic principles you have kind of developed over the years which you would like to implement over in AMSA to take AMSA to the next level?
Well, I think if I go back to my days in the classroom, I think about those things that I felt were things that could improve from the leadership point of view. And I think that it was my experience as a classroom instructor, as a member of the staff, that allowed me to develop some convictions about what needed to change and improve. Communication is one thing that I feel is very important. I don't believe there's any reason for miscommunication. I believe that all faculty and staff should have very clear-cut understanding of expectations and very well-defined roles and responsibilities, and that they perform with consistency. And I very much enjoy observing all the wonderful things teachers do, and in my heart, I'll always remain a teacher. And in fact, I continue to teach as an adjunct professor at the collegiate level whenever courses are available, and if I'm contacted and timing's right.
So what do you teach there?
Well, I've taught organizational collaborative leadership, supervision, evaluation, advanced teaching strategies, behavior management for the classroom. And I've also taught in an area that I'm published in, which is establishing culture and also school scheduling, particularly long block instruction.
So that being said, it seems to me that even though when I interview you, I didn't really think that as a bonus. So of course, sometimes AMSA is attracting a lot of talent from the industry who may be excellent trainers, but they may not have typical educational environment training. So it seems to me that we don't really have to send our teachers out anywhere. We can just have you train them.
Well, in the same regard, I think that if you look at the demographics of the AMSA faculty, you have a tremendous talent base, and you have the diversity. You have expertise in just about every area that you would need to ensure that best practices are shared among faculty. And I think I've always believed in you develop from within your own ranks and you share, because teachers can become isolated and they can become never have an opportunity to share with others. So I believe that the teachers should be actively engaged in the reform of the school in all aspects, whether it be curricular, whether it be civic and social. And I think when teachers become more invested in that process, they become stronger classroom instructors and stronger role models for young people.
That's great. So, in other words, you're saying you believe in shared leadership, where basically you would like to learn from their strengths and build on that.
Absolutely. I think for me, it's empowering all members of your faculty and staff to participate in the leadership in a way that they know they are valued. And for me, it's never said, it's demonstrated through organizational structure, procedure, and certainly if a teacher wants consistency from their students, they have to model it. If I want consistency from my staff and my faculty, I need to model it for them. And I believe that that creates a continuum for that communication, that excellence, a culture of excellence, as you will, a culture of collegiality, as you will.
So John, let me just kind of step back a little bit and see that you have 30+ years of experience, very accomplished career. You don't really need to work. You already have your consulting practice, you're teaching the teachers. What really make you think that you want to go back into a school environment and then lead a school? What make you come to AMSA?
Well, first of all, I'm not at the point where I'm ready to retire. So I need you to know that this isn't a short-term commitment for me. I believe that my best years are ahead, okay. And AMSA is a good fit for me, and I know that because we took the time to get to know one another. And it was a very rigorous, lengthy process. I was not afforded anywhere else. So I could never develop the kind of comfort zone that I had with AMSA, to the point where I was reluctant to take any more interviews while that process was going on, because I very much wanted to be there for many reasons. The diversity of not just the faculty, but the student body, what I observed in terms of the wonderful things that were going on in the classroom, the decorum of students, and especially the diversity of curricula. Yes, we're identified as an advanced science and math academy, a STEM school, but if you look at the results of your humanities, you see tremendous output by the students, which reflects an outstanding teaching staff. Latin, which was abolished from most schools, fits perfectly into this very unique approach. And I think that says a lot for the uniqueness of the curricula and what's valued. I talked to a number of students that were graduating, and I would say just as many that were going on to study, say, engineering, were interested in higher education studies of the classics, for example.
So John, before I ask you what you want to do at AMSA, I still want to understand more clearly that what really make you look at AMSA and then join AMSA. What's really in you which basically says, I want to do something at AMSA? I think when I interview you, I kind of felt something. I felt the passion of doing something different with education. Help me understand that how you have worked on the STEM education before, and what you were able and what you are not able to do because you are in a different school setting. Now you're in a charter school which is built for STEM education. Well, help me understand your passion in that regard.
Well, it goes back to 2000 when I started as a principal. And immediately I developed a partnership with the STEM pipeline. There was a representative at the time that worked out of Framingham State, and I requested that we host a meeting at Milford High School. At the same time, I was working on a partnership with a software firm, actually an individual who created DataCAD, which is an interactive architectural software, which we could never have afforded to support with a local budget. It was a local architect, Manny Snyderman, as a parent who came to me and said, would you put this program in the curriculum if I could get you the software and I agreed to come in and instruct your teacher how to use it? To me, it was a no-brainer. So from there grew an outstanding partnership that led to hosting meetings with the DataCAD Boston Engineering User Group, students being placed in internships, and actually a couple that were employed. And this is the essence of STEM education, and everything that I've read points to encouraging not just big business in industry, but small entrepreneurial businesses to partner with STEM schools so that they can develop or participate in the development of their workforce, their own workforce. It's exciting. It excites me to know that those boundaries that occur in the public schools, which is constantly faced with what are we going to cut, what programs are we going to lose, what teaching position, it becomes apparent that you can't provide all resources to all children in their diverse learning needs. To me, I believe that there are no second-class students, and they should all be serviced and all of their needs met and their interests nurtured. And that's what I see in AMSA, the ability to do that.
I think that's great, but you know, another important asset AMSA, and maybe hidden asset AMSA has, is its vast, like you said, vast culture, but also parent base, which basically is spread out into 62 towns, and also has lots of very highly professional and education people who are in the industry and various places. So using your example, you think you will be leveraging that asset base and try to kind of get a lot of different areas in, you know, working with the industry and trying to get some help on to AMSA in that example?
These are the things that were going through my mind throughout the process, the possibilities. Your location, you're surrounded by business, industry, technology-based. I envision partnerships. MIT, why not partner with MIT, Worcester Polytech? There's so much to be gained, and in many cases it's just a matter of asking. And I think I don't have any problem asking.
So I think
where kids are concerned, I'm going to ask for the world.
Okay, great. So a couple of more questions quickly. One is, I mean, of course, any program needs funding and money. And you said, you know, in the public schools, there is a lot of cutting. Believe it or not, our budget is even more tighter than the public schools. So how do you see
Right.
that you're going to generate funds, what areas just quickly you see? You see
Well,
how do
to
you generate
begin
funds?
with, you have to have a product that is marketable and attractive. And what I saw in my many visits was a void in, say, what the public experience is. Communications, more newspaper coverage, spread the good word. Let people know how unique this school is and what we're doing with young people, and show them the results. Show them how the culture is developed, how committed the students are, their relationships clearly with their teachers are of quality and mutual care and concern. The parents are extremely supportive and dedicated. And I know that there are endless resources. And to me, I don't see any roadblocks. I just see possibilities.
Excellent. So in the next 30 seconds, just give me 3 things you will focus on in the next 90 days.
A leadership structure which will be in the best interest of maximizing the teaching and learning environment.
Okay.
Supporting teachers, supporting learning.
Okay.
Consistency,
Okay.
so that all young people are given the opportunity to be treated in a way in which they know is one way,
Okay.
one team
All right.
concept.
The third?
In other words, there are no second teams, no second-class citizens.
Okay.
To establish effective communication with the faculty, staff, students, and especially the parent.
Okay.
My door will remain open, and the only way you'll know that is after the first couple of months. If anybody asks, is Mr. Brucato approachable, they will say very.
Okay, thank you so much. We have to end here. And viewers, seems like Mr. Brucato is really full of passion and full of ideas. And AMSA is definitely seems to be on a new start here. Again, we like AMSA and its curriculum, its approach, because it's bringing a new challenge to our young generations. We hope to see AMSA out of business by having our other schools pick up the tab and feel that they can actually do the same things what AMSA can do. And this is really a model which we are trying to build for our better education so we can compete in the world and be the leaders of the world once again. Thank you so much. Keep watching. Shake it up. Have a good day.